The silent discovery. The dead star system was quiet, colder than a frozen grave. No planets carried life, no moons reflected light, and no signals reached out to the galaxy. The place was forgotten, a black corner of the stars. Yet in that silence, something waited. Captain Rin Torvek, an alien explorer, stared through the viewing glass of his ship. He had searched for ruins his whole life, chasing whispers of lost civilizations, but even he was not ready for what hung before him now. A vessel. It was massive, bigger than a city, dark and silent, drifting near a dead sun. Its hull was scarred by age, covered in dust and ice, but its shape was still sharp, like a blade forged for war. It did not look like anything the galaxy had ever built. "All scanners confirm," one of Rin's crew whispered. "No power detected, no signs of life. It is ancient." Dozens of ships had come with him, scientists, engineers, warriors, even smugglers. They all wanted the same thing: secrets. If this vessel held lost technology, it could change the balance of the galaxy. Empires could rise or fall. The first boarding parties approached. Alien engineers brought their best tools, their finest machines. They touched the vessel's surface, tried to cut into its hull, but their lasers sparked and died. Their drills snapped like twigs. Even their strongest plasma could not leave a single mark. The vessel remained silent, unbroken, as if laughing at their efforts. "Impossible," one alien cursed. "This metal does not exist in our records." For 3 long days the aliens worked. They tried codes, frequencies, energy pulses, even ancient rituals. Nothing answered. No door opened. No system came alive. It was like the ship itself refused to recognize them. The crowds grew restless. Whispers filled the camps. Was this vessel cursed? Was it even safe to be here? Some said it was a weapon waiting for the right master. Others feared it was a trap, left behind by an extinct race. Among the crowd was a small human group. They had not been invited. They had come as simple workers, carrying crates, patching tools, cleaning messes. No one respected them. To the galaxy, humans were young, weak, unimportant. One of them was Jace Rowan, a technician hired to repair scanners. He was not a soldier, not a leader, just a man with grease on his hands and curiosity in his eyes. Late one night, as aliens argued and shouted outside the vessel, Jace sat near its hull. He placed his hand against the cold metal inside. "What do you want?" he muttered softly, almost to himself. The ship answered. A low hum shook the air. Lights flickered along the vessel's surface, lines of blue fire racing across the dark hull like veins waking after 1,000 years. The ground trembled beneath everyone's feet. Alarms rang across the camps. Aliens screamed, rushing to their stations. Weapons pointed at the vessel, ready for war. But then a deep, steady voice echoed from the ship itself. It was not in alien tongue, it was not in codes, it spoke in pure, clear English, human detected. Jace froze. His heart slammed against his ribs. He looked around. Every alien eye was on him. The vessel shifted, metal grinding as if doors, unseen for centuries, unlocked. A massive ramp lowered slowly, dust and ice breaking away, until a black entrance yawned open. The ship was awake. But it ignored the aliens. Their scanners screamed with errors. Their weapons shorted out. Their translators failed. The only one it answered was Jace. Captain Rin's voice cracked with shock. "Why him? Out of all of us, why him?" Jace stood at the foot of the ramp, trembling. He had no training for this, no destiny, no plan, yet the ship had chosen. He felt it, not in his ears but in his chest, like the voice was speaking directly to his soul. "Enter," the vessel commanded. The aliens stood silent. None dared move. Jace swallowed hard, his legs weak, but something inside pushed him forward. He stepped onto the ramp. The ship glowed brighter, as if welcoming him home. For the first time in thousands of years, the ancient vessel had awoken, and it obeyed humanity alone. The human key. The ramp hissed as Jace Rowan stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, yet strangely warm, as if the ship itself breathed. His boots echoed against the floor, smooth black metal that felt alive under his feet. Behind him, dozens of alien eyes glared. Some burned with fear, others with envy, but none dared follow. The vessel had made its choice, and it had not chosen them. "Stay where you are, human," one alien commander barked. His soldiers raised their weapons. "You don't know what you are touching. That ship belongs to the galaxy, not to you." Before Jace could even answer, the vessel spoke again. The voice was deep, resonant, vibrating through his chest. Unauthorized threats detected. A warning hum shook the chamber. The aliens' weapons sparked, then died in their hands. Sparks burst, circuits melted, and every rifle clattered uselessly to the ground. The ship had protected him without a single shot fired. Silence followed. For the first time in centuries, aliens known for arrogance and power stood helpless. And Jace, just a human technician, was the only one the vessel obeyed. He swallowed hard and whispered, "I don't understand. Why me?" The ship answered, "Human DNA recognized. Access granted." The walls lit up around him, glowing lines forming strange patterns, symbols and shapes he could not read. Yet somehow he felt them pressing into his mind. Not words, but feelings. Direction. Guidance. He took another step forward. The doors ahead slid open with a hiss, revealing a long corridor stretching into the ship's heart. Captain Rin shouted, from outside, "Wait, human! Do not go alone!" His voice was sharp with both anger and fear. But Rin did not step forward. He knew the ship would reject him. Jace raised his hand. "I'll see what it wants," he called back. His voice trembled, but something deep inside urged him on. As he walked, the lights followed him, glowing brighter with each step. Strange machines hummed awake along the walls. Sleek consoles, silent drones, panels that shifted like they were alive. When he reached the first chamber, the vessel dimmed to a calm blue glow. A round table rose from the floor covered in holographic symbols. They shimmered, unreadable to him. "Can you translate?" Jace asked softly. The ship responded immediately. The symbols reshaped, twisting into clear English letters. His breath caught in his throat as he read the words. "Command access, primary human key." "Primary?" he whispered. I'm nobody." The vessel disagreed. The table displayed a star map. Entire galaxies stretched before him, with blinking red marks scattered across the void. When he touched one, an image appeared. Fleets of warships, vast battles fought long ago. Humans dressed in armor he had never seen, standing tall on bridges of ships that dwarfed anything the galaxy had today. The truth struck him hard. This wasn't alien. It wasn't foreign. This was human. His voice cracked. "We've been here. Before." The chamber pulsed in reply. "Humanity. Origin commanders. This vessel awaits return." Outside, the aliens pressed against the entrance, shouting questions, demanding answers. Some were desperate. Others whispered in fear. "Human." An alien scientist cried, "What do you see in there? Tell us." But Jace couldn't speak. His heart pounded as the realization grew heavier with each breath. Humanity was not a weak young species as the galaxy believed. They had once commanded ships like gods, and now that legacy had awoken. Through him. The doors behind him slammed, shut with a metallic boom, cutting him off from the aliens. He was sealed inside. "Why are you showing me this?" Jace whispered. His voice trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of destiny pressing against his shoulders. The holograms shifted. This time, not battles, but faces. Human faces from long ago. Men and women standing proud, speaking commands he could almost hear. The ship projected their voices, faint echoes through time. Protect. Endure. Return. The chamber shook, and a new corridor opened, leading deeper into the ship. The vessel was guiding him further, drawing him towards something greater. Jace stood frozen. He was no warrior, no leader, just a technician. Yet the ship treated him as if he were the heir to a forgotten throne. His hand clenched into a fist. For the first time he felt it. Power. Not the kind that came from guns or ships, but from being chosen by something beyond comprehension. He whispered to himself, "If it wants me, then I have to see this through." The lights brightened as if the vessel agreed. Meanwhile, outside chaos spread. Alien leaders argued violently. Some demanded Jace be removed by force. Others warned that attacking him could anger the ship. Further, a few whispered that perhaps humanity had always been destined for this moment. Rin Torvek, watching the glowing vessel, felt a chill in his bones. He had sought ancient power his whole life, but he realized now, this was not meant for him. It was meant for the one species the galaxy had underestimated. Inside, Jace walked deeper into the vessel. The corridor stretched like a tunnel of stars. At its end, a massive door waited, glowing with a symbol of Earth itself. The ship's voice echoed once more, steady and commanding. "Proceed, human key. Your command begins here." Jace's breath caught. He placed his hand on the glowing door. It slid open, revealing a chamber vast as a cathedral, filled with silent machines waiting for his voice. For the first time he felt no fear, only destiny. Rising tension. The great chamber inside the vessel glowed with silent power. Jace Rowan stood at its center, surrounded by machines that waited for him. The walls were alive with light, symbols running like rivers across their surface. Every panel seemed to breathe. Every console hummed softly as if the ship itself was aware of him. He touched one of the glowing controls. The holograms shifted instantly, showing fleets of ships, weapons, and strange cities long turned to dust. The images made his stomach twist. He didn't understand half of what he saw, but he felt the weight of it. This ship wasn't just a relic. It was a weapon, a history, and a warning. Outside, the situation was breaking apart. Alien leaders shouted across the camp, their voices sharp with fear and greed. He must be removed. One commander bellowed, his clawed hand slamming the table. "The vessel will not obey us as long as that human lives." "Do you want to die?" Another hissed. "The ship defended him once. It will again. Do not be a fool." Whispers spread through the soldiers and scientists. Some wanted to attack. Others wanted to wait. All of them knew one truth. Humanity was not supposed to matter. Yet one human now held the key to the most powerful vessel in the stars. Captain Rin Torvek stood silent, his eyes fixed on the glowing entrance. He was no fool. He had seen empires rise and fall, and he knew what true power looked like. This was it. But the fact that it had chosen a human gnawed at him. Why not a commander like him? Why not someone who had earned it? Inside the chamber, Jace felt the tension pressing against the walls. He could almost hear the arguments, the shouting outside, even through the thick hull. The vessel seemed to sense his unease. "Do not fear. They cannot touch you here." Jace frowned. "They're not going to stop. They'll keep pushing. They'll keep coming." The ship pulsed with blue light. "If they threaten you, they threaten me. This vessel will protect its commander." "Commander?" Jace whispered. The word felt wrong in his mouth. He was no commander. He had never led a fleet, never even led a crew. But the vessel insisted, its deep voice wrapping around him like a chain he could not break. Meanwhile, outside, soldiers began to move. One alien officer raised his weapon, trying to bypass the burnt circuits. "If we rush him, perhaps the vessel won't react fast enough." His captain glared at him. "You saw what happened. Do you want to be turned to ash?" Still, the hunger for power was too strong. The aliens had crossed half the galaxy for this find. None of them could stand the thought of leaving it in the hands of a species they considered weak. Inside, Jace placed both hands on the glowing table. The holograms shifted again, this time showing something terrifying. Alien fleets, the very species outside, attacking in waves. The ship played it like a warning, a prediction. The voice returned. "They will not stop, you must be ready." Jace shook his head. "I don't want this fight, I just fix machines, I'm not a leader, I'm not a soldier." But the vessel did not care. "You are chosen, and the chosen cannot refuse." The door behind him suddenly trembled. Heavy blasts echoed through the chamber. Aliens were trying to force their way inside. Sparks rained from the sealed entrance as explosives pounded against it. The ship spoke, calm and steady. "Defense protocol active." From the walls, hidden weapons unfolded, sleek turrets glowing with bright energy. Drones hummed to life, their metallic wings stretching as they hovered in the air. The entire chamber shifted from calm blue to sharp crimson. The door blew inward, smoke filling the chamber. Alien soldiers rushed inside, weapons raised, but the moment their boots touched the floor, the vessel reacted. Energy turrets fired beams of light, striking their weapons and armor, disabling them instantly. Drones circled like hawks, forcing the aliens to the ground. Within seconds, the entire squad was pinned, their screams echoing as they were disarmed and dragged away by mechanical arms. Jace stared in horror. He had not given any command. The ship had acted on its own, to protect him. "Stop!" Jace shouted. His voice cracked with panic. "Don't kill them!" The ship paused. The drones froze in place, their glowing eyes fixed on him. Then the voice returned. "As you wish, Commander. They live." The drones pulled back, releasing the terrified aliens. Smoke drifted in the air, the stench of burnt weapons filling the chamber. The invaders crawled out, shaken and broken, but alive. Jace dropped to his knees, his chest heaving. He realized something terrifying. The ship wasn't just obeying him, it was waiting for his orders. It would destroy armies if he spoke the word. It would burn planets if he commanded. Outside, the news spread quickly. The humans were not just tolerated by the ship, they were its masters. Fear took root in the alien hearts. Anger followed soon after. "They cannot be allowed to rise," one leader snarled. "We will gather our fleets. We will end this before it begins." Others shook their heads. "You saw it. If that vessel truly awakens, no fleet in the galaxy can stand against it." The camp divided. Some wanted to strike now, others to bow in caution. But all agreed on one truth. The galaxy had changed. Inside the vessel, Jace stood again, trembling, but resolute. He looked at the glowing table, at the stars burning in the hologram. He whispered to himself, "I didn't choose this, but maybe it chose me for a reason." The chamber glowed brighter, the ship answering in silence. And outside, the galaxy prepared for war. The vessel's awakening. The chamber was quiet again. Smoke still curled from the ruined weapons of the soldiers who had tried to force their way inside, but they were gone now, dragged out trembling and broken. Only Jace remained, standing before the glowing table, his hands shaking. He had not given orders to fight. The ship had acted on its own. Yet when he asked it to spare lives, it obeyed instantly. That truth made his chest heavy. The vessel was alive, and it was listening. Blue light rippled along the walls, pulsing like a heartbeat. The table shifted, again showing Jace new visions. At first he thought they were memories of past battles like before, but this time, they felt closer, more personal. He saw men and women in strange uniforms. They were human, yet not like him. Taller, stronger, their eyes sharp with pride. They stood in command chambers, raising their voices in unison. Fleets of vessels answered them, thousands of ships moving together like an endless storm. Jace whispered, This was us?" The ship responded, "Humanity, supreme command, time of dominance, time of war." The visions continued. Humans, fighting against alien empires, tearing fleets apart, worlds falling to their power. Yet in every battle there was something more, a purpose, a fire in their eyes. They did not fight to conquer. They fought to protect something deeper. The images changed again. Jace saw humans standing before alien councils, warning them, negotiating, holding out hands in peace. Some aliens accepted, others turned away. And then came betrayal, war, destruction. Finally, the visions showed silence, humanity vanishing, fleets gone. Only this vessel remained, drifting in the dark, waiting. Jace staggered back, his throat dry. If this is real, then everything they believe out there is a lie. Humanity wasn't weak. He stopped himself. We were rulers once. The ship glowed brighter, as if confirming. Humanity returns. You are the key. Jace clenched his fists. He wanted to deny it. He was not a warrior. He was not a leader. He was just a man who fixed broken machines. But every step he had taken since boarding proved otherwise. The great chamber shook. Somewhere deep in the ship, massive engines rumbled, awake, their thunder vibrating through the floor. Dust fell from the ceiling as ancient systems powered on, layer by layer. Outside, the aliens panicked. Their scanners screamed as readings spiked beyond imagination. Energy signatures erupted from the vessel, brighter than stars. "It's awakening!" one alien shouted. "Stop it! We have to stop it!" cried another. But no weapon they had could break the vessel. They knew it. Fear spread like fire across the fleet. Some ships prepared to flee. Others pointed their guns at the massive hull, though they knew it was useless. Inside, Jace felt the air change. The corridor leading deeper into the vessel opened, again glowing with golden light. The ship's voice whispered, "Proceed. Your command awaits." His heart pounded. He took a shaky step forward. The corridor stretched into a vast chamber, unlike anything he had seen before. It was larger than a cathedral, its ceiling lost in shadows. At the center rose a throne-like seat surrounded by rings of light. The floor itself shifted as he walked, symbols glowing brighter under his feet. The voice spoke again. "Command. Core reactivating awaiting primary user." Jace froze before the seat. He could feel it pulling him, calling him. Every nerve in his body screamed that this was not meant for him. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't worthy, and yet, the vessel had chosen. Outside, chaos raged. Fleets of alien ships circled like vultures, arguing, preparing, fearing. Some screamed to attack now before the vessel fully awakened. Others demanded they retreat, fearing the wrath of what was coming. Captain Rin Torvek stood at the viewing glass of his flagship, his eyes wide with awe and terror. He had wanted this ship for himself, but now he knew the truth. No alien could command it. No force could claim it. Only the human inside could. He whispered almost to himself, "The galaxy will never be the same." Inside the vessel, Jace finally placed his hand on the glowing seat. The entire chamber roared to life. Engines screamed awake, shaking the stars. Shields flared, covering the vessel in a dome of burning light. The galaxy reacts. The awakening of the vessel shook the stars. Across the fleet of alien ships surrounding it, alarms wailed, scanners screamed, and officers panicked. The ancient vessel no longer drifted like a dead husk. It glowed with living fire, its shields shimmering, its engines roaring, its weapons stretching like claws. The power it released was beyond imagination. To the aliens, it was not just a ship. It was a god. On the flagship of Captain Rin Torvek, chaos filled the bridge. Officers shouted over one another, their voices cracking with terror. "It's impossible. No ship can carry that much power. If it fires, we're finished. We should retreat before it destroys us all." Rin raised his hand, silencing them. His face was pale, but his voice was steady. "Do not run. If we retreat, we lose everything. If we stay, we might yet learn." But deep inside, even he felt the cold of fear. News traveled faster than light. Within hours, the awakening was known across the galaxy. Civilizations trembled as reports spread. An ancient vessel had awoken. It answered only to a human. In the Council of Worlds, leaders gathered in panic. Some shouted for immediate war. Others demanded diplomacy. None could agree. The humans cannot be allowed to hold such power, one alien chancellor roared. Do you not see? Another snapped. We cannot stop it. If this vessel truly belongs to them, then fighting it means death. Whispers turned to arguments. Alliances that had stood for centuries cracked in a single night. Old enemies began to speak of joining together, not against each other, but against humanity. Meanwhile, on distant worlds, fear spread through ordinary people. Merchants closed their stalls. Children whispered the new name with wide eyes. Human. For a species once mocked as weak and small, the galaxy now looked at them with dread. Inside the vessel, Jace Rowan sat in the command seat, his body still, shaking. He could feel the ship's power flowing through him like blood. With a thought, he could see across the stars, feel the drones moving, sense the cannons warming. It was overwhelming, yet also strangely natural, as if the vessel had been waiting for him all along. He whispered, "This power. I never asked for it." The ship answered, calm and unyielding. Power is not asked for, it is given. Humanity must rise again. Jace closed his eyes. He thought of the aliens outside, screaming and panicking. He thought of the faces in the visions, humans long gone who had commanded fleets greater than this one. He thought of Earth, small, quiet, unimportant, in the galaxy's eyes. Now everything had changed. The vessel spoke again. Incoming fleet detected. Holograms filled the air, showing dozens of alien warships arriving from hyperspace. They had come fast, too fast. Word had spread, and the first coalition was already here. Their comms crackled to life. The voice of a harsh alien commander boomed across the void. Human inside the vessel, hear me. Step out now. Surrender control. That ship is not yours. It belongs to the galaxy. Jace's hands tightened around the command chair. He wanted to shout back to tell them he had never wanted this. But before he could answer, the vessel spoke for him. Threat detected. Defense authorization pending. The cannons outside hummed, drones swarming into formation. No, Jace said quickly. Not yet, don't fire. The weapons paused, silent but ready. Another message came from the coalition commander. You will not leave this system alive. We have the numbers. If you resist, we will destroy you. Jace laughed, bitterly under his breath. He had seen the visions. He knew the truth. Numbers meant nothing against this ship. Still, the thought of giving a command that might kill thousands made his stomach twist. Outside, Rin Torvek watched the gathering fleets. His officers begged him to leave. Captain, we cannot stand between them. If war begins, we'll be swept aside. But Rin shook his head. No, I will not run. Not yet. I must see how far this human will go. Inside, Jace rose from the seat. His voice was steady now. What happens if I command you to defend? The vessel glowed brighter, almost eager. Defense protocol will eliminate all threats. Victory probability, absolute. Jace swallowed, hard. The galaxy was watching. One word from him could change everything. He stepped closer to the projection of the enemy fleet. Ships filled the sky like locusts, their weapons charged, their leaders certain of victory. They believed they could break him. They believed they could crush humanity before it began. The ship's voice waited, patient and loyal, awaiting command, human key. Jace's heart pounded. He was not a soldier, but in this moment he understood. This vessel was not just a ship. It was a message from the past. It was proof that humanity had once ruled and could rule again. He looked into the holograms, into the heart of the enemy fleet. His lips parted, his voice low but steady. Not yet, he whispered. But when I give the word, defend. The vessel pulsed with light. Acknowledged. And so the galaxy held its breath. Fleets gathered, alliances broke, fear spread, and in the center of it all sat one man, Jace Rowan, the human no one had noticed, now holding the power to shape destiny. The first command, The void outside burned with tension. Alien fleets filled, the black sky, their weapons glowing, their engines humming. Thousands of ships surrounded the awakened vessel, each one ready to strike. Inside the command chamber, Jace Rowan stood stiff in the glowing seat. His hands gripped the armrests as he stared at the holographic display. The enemy fleet stretched like a wall of fire. The voice of the coalition commander echoed through the comms, cold and sharp. "Human, this is your final chance. Step out, leave the vessel, surrender, or we will end you." Jace swallowed hard. His chest tightened as fear pressed down on him. He was just one man, a mechanic, not a general. How could he stand against an entire galaxy? But then the ship's voice rumbled in his bones, awaiting command. Probability of victory, absolute. The words felt unreal. Absolute? Against this many ships? Jace's mind spun. He remembered the visions the vessel had shown him. The humans of the past, commanding fleets with calm certainty. They had stood where he stood now. They had given orders, and the galaxy had obeyed. Jace clenched his fists. He was afraid, but fear didn't matter, not anymore. Outside, the first enemy salvos launched. Beams of plasma streaked across space, crashing against the vessel's shields. The ship shook, but the shields held strong, glowing like a burning sun. The aliens roared across comms, convinced their numbers would break the ancient giant. Jace rose from the chair. His voice was quiet but steady. Defend. The chamber erupted. In light, cannons unfolded from the vessel's hull, glowing with blue fire. Drones poured from hangars like swarms of steel hawks, their engines screaming as they streaked into the void. The air itself seemed to vibrate as the ship came alive, every weapon ready, every shield blazing. Outside, the galaxy watched in horror. The first volley of the vessel's weapons ripped through the enemy fleet. Beams of energy lanced out, cutting through capital ships as if they were paper. Explosions bloomed like dying stars, lighting the black with fire. Drones swarmed through enemy formations, darting between ships, planting blasts, tearing weapons apart. Dozens of frigates shattered in seconds. Entire squadrons disappeared into smoke. The alien commander screamed into comms. "Impossible, keep firing, overwhelm it." But their fire was useless. Every beam struck the vessel's shields and vanished like drops of water on stone. Their numbers meant nothing. Their fury meant nothing. Inside, Jace felt the ship's heartbeat, racing with his own. Every blast, every drone's movement, he felt as if it was part of him. The power was terrifying, but it was also intoxicating. The vessel's voice echoed. "Enemy formations collapsing. Recommend counterstrike." "No," Jace said, his teeth clenched. "Defend only. No killing unless they force it." The ship pulsed with light. Acknowledged. The drones adjusted. Instead of tearing ships apart, they sliced weapons from their hulls, disabling engines, shattering shields. Enemy vessels spun helplessly, floating powerless in the void. The aliens panicked. Their fleets broke into chaos. Some tried to flee. Others screamed to keep fighting, desperate to prove their strength. But the truth was clear. Against this vessel, they were nothing. On Rin Torvek's flagship, the captain gripped the railing tight. His officers stared in silence as entire fleets crumbled before their eyes. He whispered, almost in awe, "So this is the true face of humanity." Inside, Jace stood tall in the glowing chamber, the fire of battle reflecting in his eyes. For the first time, he felt not just fear, but control. The ship was his. The galaxy was watching. He opened the comms to the enemy fleet. His voice rang out across the void, calm and steady. "I didn't come here to fight, but you gave me no choice. You see what this vessel can do. If you come again, it won't just defend, it will end you." The comms fell silent. No alien dared reply. The battle was over. In minutes, an entire coalition fleet had been humbled. But Jace knew this was only the beginning. Word would spread. More fleets would come. The galaxy would not rest. The vessel's voice returned. "Humanity's return has begun. Next phase awaits. Jace closed his eyes, the weight heavy on his shoulders. He had given his first command. He had defended, and in doing so, he had declared to the galaxy that humanity was no longer silent. Outside, the stars flickered with burning wreckage. Aliens watched in silence, their fear growing into something deeper. Respect, but also hatred. The galaxy would not forgive this. Humanity's return. The battle was over. The void outside burned with wreckage. Ships drifted broken and silent, their weapons stripped, their engines dead. Smoke trails stretched across the stars, glowing faintly against the dark. The ancient vessel stood alone in the center, shields shining, drones circling like guardians. No one dared fire again. Jace Rowan sat in the command chair, his body trembling from the storm he had unleashed. He stared at the holograms of crippled fleets, his chest heavy. He had spoken one word, defend, and the galaxy had bent before it. The voice of the vessel rumbled inside him. Threat eliminated, awaiting next command. Jace exhaled, his breath shaky. No more fighting. No more killing. Not unless they force us. Acknowledged, the vessel replied, its glow calming from crimson to steady blue. Outside, fear turned to silence. Captains, who had once demanded humanity's surrender, now stared at the unstoppable truth. Their fleets had failed. Their weapons had failed. The vessel had chosen, and it had chosen humanity. Captain Rin Torvek, still aboard his flagship, leaned against the glass, his eyes locked on the glowing giant. He had spent his life searching for power, but now he understood. Power had never been his to claim. It belonged to the humans, a species the galaxy had mocked for being weak. He whispered, almost in reverence, "The age of humanity begins again." Inside, Jace rose from the seat. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. "Open a channel," he told the vessel. "All frequencies, all systems. I want the whole galaxy to hear this." The vessel obeyed. Across countless stars, comms crackled, alive, from distant colonies to grand councils, from soldiers on warships to children in the markets. Every being heard the same voice. Jace's voice. "This ship answered only to me," he said, his words echoing across the stars. "Not because I am special, not because I am chosen, but because I am human." He paused, letting the weight of the word hang in the silence. "You called us weak. You called us small. You forgot us. But your ancestors knew us. They fought us. They feared us. And now, they will remember us. On distant worlds, whispers rose. Humans. Impossible. Not them. Yet none could deny what they had seen. Jace's voice grew stronger. "We didn't come to conquer. We didn't come to rule. But we will not bow. Not anymore. If you attack us, this vessel will defend. If you threaten Earth, it will answer. And if you think humanity will vanish again, then look at the fire in the sky tonight." The wreckage outside burned bright behind him, the proof of his words. The vessel's voice thundered with his own, like an ancient chorus rising from time itself. "We waited. We endured. We obey. Humanity returns." Silence followed. Across the galaxy, leaders froze. Soldiers trembled. Ordinary people listened with wide eyes. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood. Humans were not the weak ones. They were the legacy, the survivors, the return. Jace lowered his voice, softer now. "You will learn to respect us, or you will learn to fear us. The choice is yours." The comms cut. The message was done. For a long moment, the galaxy did not move. Fleets that had come to destroy him now drifted powerless. None dared attack again. One by one, they turned their ships, retreating into the dark, not defeated by war, but by terror. Jace slumped back into the chair, his body exhausted. His hands trembled, but his eyes were firm. He knew the truth now. This was not just about him. It was about every human, everywhere. The vessel had not chosen him alone. It had chosen his species. Captain Rin Torvek watched his screens as his fleet pulled away. He closed his eyes and muttered, "The galaxy will never forgive this, but it will never forget it either." Inside the chamber, the vessel spoke once more. "You have carried out the first command. Ahead lies destiny. Humanity will rise again." Jace looked out at the stars. They no longer seemed silent. They no longer seemed cold. They seemed alive, waiting for what came next. He whispered, almost to himself, "Then let's return home. Earth needs to see what we've become." The engines roared. Light burst from the vessel's core as it turned toward hyperspace. The stars stretched, the wreckage faded, and with a thunderous flash, the ship vanished into the void. The galaxy remained silent, shaken, afraid, and forever changed. For the first time in 3,000 years, humanity had returned, and the stars would never be the same.